In this video, we look at the Bryan Kohberger case through the lens of Investigative Genetic Genealogy, IGG. We explore how public DNA databases like GEDmatch and 23andMe, intended for hobbyists and family trees, have become the ultimate forensic tool. From the reverse genealogy process that tracked down Bryan Kohberger to the complex ethical debates surrounding DNA privacy, this is the story of how science turned a family tree into a trap, and we want to know what you think about it. November 13th, 2022. A date now etched in the shadows of Moscow, Idaho. 1122 King Road looked like any other student rental, until it didn't. Inside, investigators found a nightmare. But amidst the chaos, a single silent witness remained. A tan leather knife sheath left behind on a victim's bed. Forensics experts worked meticulously. They found exactly what they were looking for. Touch DNA on the snap of that sheath. It was a tiny, invisible signature left by the killer. A direct link to the crime. But when they ran it through CODIS, the FBI's massive criminal database, the system came back empty. No match, nothing. The trail stopped there. This was the forensic wall, the moment where science meets the limits of the law. If you have never been arrested for a felony, you don't exist in the CODIS system. To the traditional justice system, you are a ghost, untraceable, invisible. Without a prior record, the most advanced tools in the world were useless. For weeks, the trail went cold. The community lived in fear while the killer remained a shadow. Traditional justice had met its match in a man with no history of violence on paper. The team knew that to find him, they had to look beyond the databases they knew. They needed to find a way to make the invisible visible, to bridge the gap. Because as long as he remained a ghost, justice would remain out of reach. But everyone has a family. Everyone leaves a biological footprint somewhere. With the eyes of the nation on them, the pressure to break the wall was immense. The answer wasn't in a criminal file. It was hidden in the branches of a family tree. To catch this ghost, they would use a revolutionary new tool: Investigative Genetic Genealogy. The hunt was no longer about looking for a criminal. It was about finding a relative. When a DNA sample was found on a knife sheath at the crime scene, traditional methods hit a dead end. Traditional police DNA testing, known as STR, looks at about 20 specific markers to create a genetic fingerprint. It is great for matching a suspect if they are already in the system, but Bryan Kohberger was not. Enter Investigative Genetic Genealogy, or IGG. It is a completely different way of looking at our genetic code. While traditional police DNA looks at 20 points, genealogy looks at hundreds of thousands of points called SNPs. These SNPs act like digital breadcrumbs, allowing investigators to find even the most distant relatives of a suspect. To do this, the FBI used public databases like GEDmatch and Family Tree DNA to search for matches. It is important to understand that these are not police sites. They are people sites used for personal heritage. By leveraging data shared by regular people, the police were able to build a tree that led back to Kohberger. They found a distant cousin, and by tracing that family tree forward, they narrowed the search down to one man. This combination of high-tech science and public data has changed forensic investigations forever. The hunt for a killer began with a single ghost on camera. A white 2015 Hyundai Elantra circling the King Road neighborhood. Investigators combed through thousands of hours of footage, mapping every turn the mysterious vehicle took on that cold November night. The search eventually led them to the nearby Washington State University campus, where a student named Bryan Kohberger owned the exact model. But it wasn't just the car. It was his phone's digital footprint. Location data narrowed the tree of suspects down to one specific branch. As the holidays approached, Kohberger drove thousands of miles across the country back to his family home in the Poconos. He thought he had escaped, but a high-stakes stakeout was already underway. FBI agents were watching his every move from the shadows. In a bizarre attempt to hide his tracks, agents saw him disposing of his personal trash in the neighbors' bins in the middle of the night. This was the moment they needed. As soon as he went back inside, investigators moved in to recover the evidence he tried to discard. The trash was rushed to a lab for an emergency genetic genealogy test. They were looking for a link that would connect him to the crime scene. The lab results provided the technical aha moment. They found DNA belonging to Bryan's father, which told a very specific story. That DNA was compared to a single source found on the snap of a knife sheath left at the scene of the murders. The probability was undeniable. It was 99.99% likely that the DNA on the sheath came from the biological son of the man who threw away that trash. With the final match confirmed, the trap was sprung. The long-shot investigation had finally narrowed down to its target: Bryan Kohberger. The Idaho student murders shook the world, but it was the hunt for Bryan Kohberger that truly sparked a massive ethical debate. At the center of this controversy is Investigative Genetic Genealogy, or IGG. It is a tool that found a needle in a digital haystack. We have seen your comments. Many of you are deeply concerned about the sensitivity of touch DNA and the potential for overreach. Is this genetic surveillance? When a tiny speck of skin cells can unlock your entire family tree, the line between safety and privacy blurs. Your feedback on the touch DNA evidence suggests a growing fear that our biological data is no longer under our own control. Let us look at a common scenario. Imagine your cousin Maya uploads her DNA to a heritage site to find her distant ancestors. In that one simple click, she is looking for family history. But has she effectively opted you into a permanent police lineup? Because your DNA shares markers with hers, her choice to explore her past can expose your biological identity to law enforcement. The Bryan Kohberger case has changed the face of forensics forever. It proved that no matter how well a crime is hidden, DNA tells a story. IGG is now a standard, making it nearly impossible for suspects to remain anonymous if they leave even a microscopic trace behind. But as forensics evolves, our legal systems are struggling to keep up. Where does your right to genetic privacy end and public safety begin? Now it is your turn to weigh in. This is one of the biggest ethical crossroads of our generation, and we want to hear from you. Do you support the use of investigative genetic genealogy to solve cold cases? Or do you find it a violation of our personal privacy? Vote in the comments below. Let us start a conversation that matters. Hit the like button if you enjoy the story. Please subscribe and drop a comment. I am your host, Emma, and stay a little spooked.